What are core components of a successful live shopping feed?
With live shopping or social commerce, you can solve the problem sometimes we have in e-commerce because you can really catch people, you can inspire, you can interact with them, and you can giving really good advice.
I think one of the problems in e-commerce right now is that almost all the websites, they look similar.
What we will see in future is that we will see small and big companies that will be very successful with social commerce on TikTok Shop or on their own platforms like we have on OTTO or in our own app, if they have the right people in front of the camera.
Hi everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the EGN Podcast. I'm your host, Effe Fontainen. Prepare for an extraordinary experience as we take the show from Berlin to Hamburg for this special episode. Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of the hottest topics in our industry, social commerce. And we couldn't find a better candidate to talk about this topic than Jörg Heinemann, Innovation Evangelist from OTTO. Jörg, welcome to our special studio. We're on tour and very happy to have you as part of our lineup here. And I have to say I'm personally very, very excited to have you because we've been in contact for quite some time and there was always something that came up. We couldn't record an episode. It's long overdue, but now finally we get to know you and get to know what you do out there for OTTO, and very excited to find out about your journey.
Thanks for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to a great discussion.
Yeah, Jörg, maybe, you're one of those people that actually don't need an introduction, but let's do it anyway. So
kidding.
I think there are still some people out there that don't know you yet. And tell us about you. Who are you and what do you do?
More personal or more job view?
I mean, when were you born and what's your social security number? No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Your professional journey.
So I'm Jörg. I'm an innovation evangelist at OTTO. I'm in the 40s now, so I'm feeling old now. I'm at OTTO now for 12 years. I think I don't say it in English. In Germany, would say the rote Faden. So
Yeah.
So my path in all that years was a mix of marketing, innovation, and then e-commerce.
Yeah.
So, now I'm 12 years at OTTO. So why 12 years for someone who is interested in innovation? Because I'm now part of the innovation game, and I'm having discussions with interesting other companies, with colleagues, with employees. And so it's every day is there's a competitor that says it's day one.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean.
Credit where credit is due. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff Bezos, for this.
That are your words.
Yeah.
But so in an innovation game, it's always new, and you have interesting projects. And so that's me. And at OTTO, my role it's a mix between trend scouting and innovation communication, so finding on that way new partnerships, doing innovation together. So I'm a big fan of competition also. Yeah. So that is one reason I'm also active in the BVDW. So I don't know in English. It's in German. It's also very long. It's I think it's like a lobby society for digital marketing. Yeah. And there we are now founding a social commerce lab. So that's one part of being a fan of co-opetition. So working with people together and driving topics and interesting topics together.
Yeah, I mean, totally exciting because I feel like right now, as we speak, social commerce is kind of having more and more resonance among the audience, so it's like taken up. We will talk about the trials in the last couple of years, companies trying live shopping and maybe not succeeding that much in Germany. But now I feel like it's getting more and more acceptance. And social commerce is a huge topic, right? So you can tackle it from all kinds of different angles. So maybe tell us about what your focus is right now, what topics you're pushing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so social commerce is one of the biggest topics. We are working at the innovation team at OTTO, so I'm only one person of a team, so with my special role. So it's more the theory that I'm only working at Trend Scout and communication, so we are a small team, so everybody has to do everything a little bit.
Yeah.
So especially in the topic of social commerce or live shopping, what we are focused, especially in the past on, is to do, I'm doing things there also. So it's not only searching for new ideas and telling about that. So we are at OTTO in that business since 2020, really 2021, and started with live shopping in that social commerce game. So have seen that trend in China and said, yeah, that's a cool thing. We can do better e-commerce with live shopping, and started then to do live shopping.
Yeah.
And since that, it has grown. And now for us and the project team, in mind, live shopping is only one part of the big topic of social commerce.
Yeah.
And I think we can add sub topics in the next months, because there is a lot of movement in that area of social commerce. But since we have started, it has grown from an innovation project to a retail media product.
Yeah.
So live shopping is now the responsibility of OTTO Advertising. So that's our retail marketing unit inside OTTO, because we are now in the transformation to becoming a platform, and we are still a platform. Already are a platform, and so our brand partners, can book live shopping at OTTO. So we are having now a really a product.
Yeah.
So now it's not really part of the innovation team anymore, and we focus on different topics inside the social commerce, and to innovate the topic of live shopping. So bringing live shopping outside of our app or website to Apple TV, maybe to cars in future and things like that.
Yeah.
So that is what we are doing at the moment with live shopping.
So Jörg, if I understood you correctly, also any company could use your platform to have live shopping feeds, or is it more for OTTO partners? Or could you say a few words about this?
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a great question, because there are two projects if we are looking at the OTTO group and live shopping and how it started at OTTO. Yeah. So I think in 2021 we were already so successful with live shopping that we crashed our software. So we are working together with a startup at that moment, because it was live shopping at that days was very early in Germany to do live shopping.
May I take a guess which startup that might have been? Because I did get to know a startup from Israel back in the day, Live Buy or something.
No. They Live Buy. It was not Live Buy. It was another step. And I don't want to blame anybody, but it was not Live Buy.
Okay.
So so we had 15,000 people live in one show, and that was too much for the software. So big success and a big problem at one moment. Yeah. It was my 14th birthday. So that evening there was a phone call of my colleague, and he knows it's my birthday, and he knows that I have other things to do that evening. So having dinner with my wife, and I know that moment we had a problem. So, but the problem was a great success. So we have to find very fast a new software. We found it, but not a perfect one. Yeah. Because on the one hand, we have more than 20 years experience as OTTO in e-commerce business. Yeah. On the other hand, we had at that moment more traffic than many software suppliers can guarantee us from a technical base. Yeah. So we found one software supplier, worked together with him, but at that moment we had the idea to build something for the OTTO group, or first at OTTO and then for the OTTO group. And it was not a good idea to build that at OTTO because we have our core business and we have to do enough with that.
Yeah.
But we have with the OTTO solution provider inside the OTTO Group service provider for software. And we made a pitch there.
Yeah.
And they started a project together with us. So they developed a live shopping software. And especially a colleague of mine did a lot of product management for that also. And after 1 year, we switched to our own software, and it was the market leader software before. So it was a great success for us. So after 1 year, replacing the market leader with our own software, and we were more happy with that. And
super fast.
Yeah, it was very, very fast. We love that. They have special offshore teams, so they were able to scale it very, very fast.
All those developers got burnout. No, I'm kidding.
No. I think they switched on one development team after another in different countries, and I think they work 24 hours because of different teams at different time zones or something like that. And after that there were a lot of improvements. But starting with OTTO at the first customer, they decided to say, okay, the first idea was to build it for other companies in the OTTO group. But then they said, okay, we are go outside the market. And now the software is out of the market called Movex Live Shopping. You can software as a service from OTTO Group solution provider. And they have other customers now, very successful. And we are now one of the customers. And of course, we are working together still with the product management. But now it's both way because they have other customers and we can learn from them also. Yeah. So it's a huge win for all of us. So that's not OTTO software, it's OSP software, but it's our baby, of course. The idea to build it was a colleague and me, and our boss had the idea to go to the OSP. And that was great. And that's one part of the story. And the other part is a totally OTTO story. So to the improvement of an innovation project to a retail media product. And now we have projects to bring it on smart TVs or cars or things like that to spread the content. So my vision is I want to have OTTO TVs so 24/7, not always live, but to offer video content around the clock and on every screen you want. That's my private vision. So maybe we can match it sometimes with an OTTO vision.
Shoot for the moon, reach for the stars or something. I mean, like, maybe let's take a step back and describe, okay, we're tackling social commerce. Now, the first thing we are discussing is live shopping. From my perspective, looking at the development of live shopping, China was a forerunner. Yeah, and nowadays it still is getting even more powerful. And then you see American companies also introducing, like Amazon Live, for example, also live shopping feeds among the platform. And throughout the Corona crisis, I've also seen some German players like Höfner. I think they're selling like Möbel. So they're selling like furniture. They tried this out. Douglas tried this out. Chibo, as far as I know, did 1 or 2 live feeds per week. And I had listened to a talk from the Douglas colleague back in the day, and I think
Yasin, I think.
Sorry?
Yasin, I think.
Yeah, Yasin. Yeah. And he was like talking very positively, even back then, about the experience. Now you see also, we will talk about it a bit later, TikTok did a trial maybe 2 years ago, 2022, whether or not they can introduce live shopping to, or like TikTok shop to Germany. Or Europe, they decided it was too early. But nowadays, you will probably have some insights on that. Yeah. That they feel like they're ready to go. So what's been happening since then? Like Corona was a big shift, I guess.
I think it was a little bit of oil for the machine. Yeah. We started before that, and or thinking about before that, and I think especially in the Corona crisis, it was a great tool, and especially for brick and mortar stores to give their experience to online. But I think it always can work, and especially in future it can work. And maybe it was too early for TikTok 2 years ago, but now it's not too early.
Yeah.
So what we have seen is that in China it's not a trend anymore. So its baseline of e-commerce, I think it's 1/3 of the e-commerce turnover is made of social commerce or especially live shopping. So anyway, huge part of it. So if you want to do successful e-commerce business in China, you don't have the choice.
Yeah.
You have to do that. So and in China, it's more driven from the external platforms. One of that is Douyin. It's TikTok. It's here. It's Douyin in China. It's the same company. And they started with normal social media or video like TikTok here.
Yeah.
And then they introduced the possibility to buy with one click.
Yeah.
After that, they have stolen 1/3 of the e-commerce turnover in China from Tmall and other competitors because at that moment they become a competitor because they becoming an e-commerce platform.
Yeah. They're taking market share from them.
Then they started, I think, in 2021 in the UK. We didn't recognize that here very well. I wonder for my own. So, and then they started last year in 2023 in the US.
Yeah.
And there it was more a big bang than in UK. Maybe because I think they have invested last year $500 million US. For what? The most interesting part is for own logistics. So now they have fulfilled by TikTok.
Yeah.
So if you want to start an own e-commerce business, you can do everything with TikTok. Also, the logistics. Now they are an e-commerce platform in the US, and I think they expect this year $70.5 million billion US dollar, I think, turnover. So it's a very huge number. And if you're seeing the curve, it's a hockey stick. End of last year, after they started. So what happened then? A few months later, Meta, that had experience here in the Western world with live shopping, and they have tried, I think, Instagram shops, and nothing runs really good.
Yeah.
Why? Because you didn't have that user experience I told before. So with buying with one click.
Yeah.
So normally,
although they had Facebook Pay running in the US and Brazil, I guess,
but
not in Europe.
No, not in Europe. And if I'm looking to Germany, it was not in good user journey. So you have seen maybe an ad or maybe live shopping, and then at some part you have
passing it on.
Yeah, passing on in your own shop, and it was not easy. That it was not the UX of social commerce in China, and why it's so successful there, because that is, you get inspired and you were able to buy in seconds after you get inspired the product you have seen.
Jörg, what are core components of a successful live shopping feed? You probably have like a little bit of fear of missing out. You have 1 hour where the feed happens. Maybe you have cool offers.
I think there are still differences in China and here, I think. In China, it's more the fear of missing out and to get the best deals. I think here it's more to get inspired, to have the possibility to interact with a company, always with other shoppers, with other users, because normally the chat is open. Yeah. Sometimes other users answer questions faster than we can, for example. And then as a total experience, you're getting really good advice.
Yeah.
So maybe that components were there, but the component of getting inspired and then able to buy in seconds on the same platform, that wasn't there. Now with TikTok Shop, you have that in the US. And after that, Meta announced that they are back in the social commerce game with a cooperation with Amazon, so where you can linking your Instagram account, for example, with your Amazon account, and then you are able to buy also in seconds after the first linking on the platform. Maybe that the reason is TikTok Shop and the success, because I think Amazon tried to do social commerce on their own platform a little bit. Meta tried to do social commerce on their platform a little bit, but both failed. I think Meta failed more maybe than Amazon, and now they are doing that together. So, what's going on here? Now you have seen that Fulfilled by TikTok coming to UK last year also. In UK, they are still the first choice of shopping platform in the UK. TikTok Shop is there. It's working. Normally, users have 10 contacts, so buys at TikTok Shop. Gen Z, almost 20. So they have frequent there also. And now everybody is talking about when they are coming, at what time they are coming to Germany. And you seeing at the moment, you can see that they are hiring. There are rumors that they open the TikTok Shop office in Munich. And maybe, if I had to guess, I think they will announce something in summer, and latest at autumn they will start. That's my personal guess.
Yeah.
And
then, I read the same.
And then we see a big improvement in social commerce here also, because if we are looking at China or US, there were companies that doing social commerce for their own, like we do also, but the big scale always depends on the external platforms. And if TikTok Shop now comes, I think we will see it. And if you are seeing how they are working together with other companies, like in the UK, they are partnering with Shopify, then you are looking how many customers Shopify has in Germany and how many of them are on already on TikTok. You think about that they start with almost 10,000 partners from the scratch.
Yeah.
And that is huge. And then we see a shift, and a big shift in Germany, I think, in the e-commerce landscape to social commerce.
Yeah, you summarized it perfectly well. And I'm very curious. Some people, as you said, I read the same thing about Munich being a hub, and also I read that in other European cities, it's a similar approach, be it Milan.
Amsterdam is also a hub.
Yeah. So they're really on the offensive in Europe, it seems. Also, maybe it has to be tied with maybe it's a contingency plan because they're under a lot of attack, I feel, in the US.
Yeah, of course.
They're at risk of being banned. Looks very, very pressing. Yeah, maybe you've been also following that in the US.
Yeah, I do. Europe sometimes is different, sometimes always a little bit later. But it's an exciting topic from many perspectives. But I think if they start here, it will be a huge improvement in presence of social commerce in the whole landscape, and for us also, because if you are looking to questionnaires about live shopping or social commerce in Germany, if people were hit of one show, for example, they always like it. Most people like it. I think more than 80% likes, 40 really like it. And I don't know any marketing format or content, marketing-driven content people love so much than that.
Yeah.
And if they make it popular through their platform with TikTok Shop, I think we will see improvements in spectators also at OTTO, because people are knowing more and more that format and how it works, and how they can interact, and that they can buy directly out of the show. People have to learn that, especially German people have to learn that digital things. And I think we will see a big improvement in the whole social commerce landscape.
Two things I also found. We talked about Yasin from Douglas. I don't know if he was the one who said this, but I had watched one. I think maybe it was a fashion brand that tried out live shopping in Germany. So the learning was interesting. First, they had like a beautiful looking model just doing the feed, and the people were kind of giving feedback at the end of the feed. Hey, how did you find this feed? People were frustrated because they're like, we came here because we want to learn more about the product from a product expert, and not just someone that looks presentable, but please bring us a product expert. And then they had more and more, two things for me, like sense of community also, like you're part of a community interested in a collection of products, maybe it could be gardening, could be depending on what you do. Like in the case of Chibo, they have like every week they have a different topic, right? So it could be coffee, it could be garden products. What they sell random things every week.
Yeah.
So that was interesting that the product expert come across very well, because you, unlike many big shops or marketplaces, you can your voice is heard. You can ask a question, you can pose a question, and you get an answer, right?
Yeah.
For me, that was also one of the important learnings, at least from these examples, that you want to talk. Maybe this is also what differentiates. Maybe this is in the Venn diagram, there's a QVC, like back in the old days, like telephone shopping.
They are still very
still
successful.
exist.
They are still very successful.
I outed myself. I haven't owned a TV since I was 18. So I'm like, you see us sitting down in our sofa and just watching stuff from our laptop still, although we're adults, you know?
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that in a while, but I do believe that they are still out there.
It's
and
still
successful.
a billion business in Germany also.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, so that seems to have established itself definitely more and more since Corona.
Yeah,
it seems, and you seem to agree. But what's coming in the near future?
I think, it's not really a question. You told a lot of different possibilities how you can do live shopping. If I'm talking about live shopping and how to start or what's about, I always say, and especially from small companies, are we able to do that? Do we need that high professional cameras we have here at the moment? I always say, no, you can start directly with that and a ring light.
Yeah.
But we are all a little bit typical Germans. We want to die in perfection sometimes. Looking at China, even the big influencers working with smartphone and ring light, what is more important to be authentic, to be authentic, to know the products, and to explaining them great. My beloved example, it's from one new customer of the OSP using that software. That was, I think, the show with the most bad connection and sound. Why? They streamed directly out of the forest.
Yeah.
And they are selling chainsaws. And they cutted trees live in that show.
Yeah.
And you heard a tractor in the background and energy station because there was no wall plug in the wood in the forest. So, but that was authentic, and the people loved that show. That there was a bad connection because it was in a German forest, you know. Our problems here with mobile phones and things like that, but the content was great.
Yeah.
And I think what we will see in future is that we will see small and big companies that will be very successful with social commerce on TikTok Shop or on their own platforms like we have on OTTO or in our own app, if they have the right people in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And an authentic location. It could be the perfect brand shop we are producing in if we are together with maybe Liebherr in their flagship store. But sometimes I have we have shows with Adidas. We had a few minutes ago from here on the Reeperbahn in a very famous kiosk. We had also a show that were great locations and they were very suitable to the content.
Yeah.
But if you have a small company and selling chainsaws, you can go to the forest or to your own store or maybe in your basement. If you have people that love the products and can explain that, then they will or you will be successful, because with live shopping or social commerce, you can solve the problem sometimes we have in e-commerce, because you can really catch people, you can inspire, you can interact with them, and you can giving really good advice. And content creator, influencer, product expert, name like you want it, if they can do that things and be entertaining, that's another skill you have to have.
Yeah.
And maybe a good seller in front of the camera. So sometimes you can look at the a woman or man at QVC or the teleshopping channels because they are very good at that. If you can combine that, you will be successful. And I think we will see many old and many new stars in the next years through social commerce.
So Jörg, maybe you can tell us about you've been dealing with this topic for quite some time now. What are the top segments where you think live shopping is a truly good idea to tap into? Maybe 3, 4, 5, whatever examples you can name us, where you've seen this contribute tremendously to success. Second thing is, I've read also that even in Germany, among the companies that tested out live shopping, they've seen an increase of conversions by 35% during these feeds. Do you have similar experiences or observations?
If I'm right, I think most of the turnover, I think 90% is afterlife, but it depends always on the products you have. If you have, like I mentioned before, a brand show with Liebherr, nobody buys a new fridge directly in that show. Maybe your fridge going down inside the show, then maybe, but normally not. So, but if you're selling maybe not so expensive products and making a good offer, maybe they will buy. We had a great show with Microsoft, had a very good offer for a computer mouse. Everybody thought that will be the first product that will be sold out based on that good price. Guess what was the product that were first sold out? It was a high-priced Surface Book. Why? Because the product expert and the moderation, it was a dream team in front of the camera, and they explained that Surface Book so great that many people maybe that watched that show were interested in notebooks and said, okay, they explained it so good, I will buy that. I stopped searching about 100 of notebooks. That is the personal advice they have given to me. Maybe they have asked questions and it was sold out. So, long story short, it depends always on the product and the people and your target group. There is no special advice which product suits good or not. If you have to find your target group and you have to find people that can reach that target group and can explain the products, and then you can start. And starting with a smartphone and with a ring light, that it's more important to have the right people, finding the target group, reaching the people to the show. For us, it's very successful to push. I love that word, push messages. So because we are allowed at OTTO to send millions of push messages to the people. So that's the reason why we have so much live traffic. But if you're thinking about live shopping, you have to think about it. It should be live on the first time. But after that, you can use the recorded show in your online shop. You can cut it in pieces using it in the product detail pages. You can cut it in shoppable clips, building your own inspiration feed. So that's the reason why I've said live shopping is one part of social commerce. It's much more bigger. And I think especially because maybe Europeans are different, it will be very successful in social commerce to having that shoppable clips. So because you can integrate it easily in your app, on your product detail pages, building your own inspiring feed, using that clips at TikTok Shop. Maybe at first time you are live, but you can use that content in total or in pieces long run. So our live shopping shows are normally online for 6 months after we were live. And normally we get 1/3 of traffic directly live and then 2/3 after that. So live shopping is only a part, and live shopping, it was live, but after that you can use it still. So
also
the best advice is try. Start and try.
I think it's also interesting in this context to mention, we've talked a lot about TikTok, but I think it's important to mention that TikTok, among the Generation Z, is a search engine. It's not just a feed that you scroll through. It's somewhere to go to search for products, search for things, search for hobbies, whatever. It's and I have to frankly say I'm on TikTok, but I'm not using it as a search engine. My search engine of choice is still Google. But I think there's a target group that is acting very, very differently.
Yeah, and if you're looking at China, if there is somebody who is not the new way, so getting inspired and buy then, so it's the old way, so you have an intent, then you search, and then you buy. They go to Douyin or other social commerce or social media platform, or to Tmall directly.
Yeah.
But nobody uses search engines there anymore for products. And I think we will see that changing in e-commerce here also. And I think there is another big trend. So it's so huge. It's AI. So we see. I think we will see a lot of changes in e-commerce in future. And my personal vision is that the old way to have that search bar and product lists, so product deserts sometimes, that will die and more. Especially the young people. I think if they know exactly what they want, they are not interested in typing in search bar anymore. I think they will use in assistants like now they learn from OpenAI, so they can use that an assistant, a shopping assistant, to ask questions and then giving advice to have conversational commerce. So we had that for years, but the bots were very stupid. Now with Gen AI, they are more like assistants. So we will have that on the one hand, if you know what you want or a category you want, and then you want to find your special product. On the other hand, you will see more and more that social commerce thing. If you have no idea or want to be inspired, you will go there. Or you will use that features on OTTO, on an OTTO app. But I think the usage of search bars and product lists that will go down in the next years, I think.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you mentioned that, especially the role of AI as maybe comparable to the invention of PCs back in the day, where it kind of democratized or like the advancement of internet, so that every household had access to internet, and then you had the iPhone. In 2007, I think the first iPhone, which pretty much democratized this technology and put it in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
So now AI, I also presented this recently in one of my keynotes. It's 2022. I spent most of my time sitting at home during Weihnachten, like Christmas, and just playing with ChatGPT because it's like for the first time it's available.
Amazing, yeah.
It's like, and it was one of the most successful products, reaching 100 million within a couple of days, right? It's huge. So that being said, now this technology is being embedded into pretty much everything where we interact with products. So sooner or later, we won't even think like we won't be discussing AI because AI will be embedded everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have seen like that Christmas days, you have told me, you have seen so much improvement in that battlefield. So
incredible.
And think about what is there in 1 or 2 years. We have already, and I think it's based on ChatGPT, so OpenAI technology. We have already a chat support for our service team in our live shows. So if there are questions, so you can guess. Our record now is 100,000 people live in one show.
Wow.
So you can guess there are many questions, and we have only a few people that are answering that questions. So we have an AI chat support, so it suggests answers. So they can click yes or no, or work on the answer and then send it. The next, you can guess. So I have told you 1/3 traffic live, 2/3 not live. No chat there. No people you can chat with. Now, in future, not, because there will be an assistant, and you can see, if you are then on a replay show, you can see all the questions that people have asked during that show. I think it's one element of success, because you are not feeling alone if you're doing e-commerce, so that's that interaction thing. But then you will be able to ask questions, and there will be an assistant that answers that question. So that's the word you said. It's built in. So it's not an shopping assistant at
You
OTTO.
don't go to this AI support agent.
No.
It's
No,
there
you
anyway.
you are watching a live stream and then having a question. Maybe you don't recognize that it's recorded, so it doesn't matter because it's there. And if you have a question, there will be an answer live.
Yeah.
So, and I think that there we will see more and more cases where people integrate that also in e-commerce. Sometimes you have to go to a shopping assistant, and sometimes maybe you are typing in a search bar, and then you recognize the search bar as an assistant. Maybe there will be products like that in the future, and they make sense.
What was it called? The Turing test, where you try to identify if it was a real person or an AI agent or something.
It becomes harder and harder. I think. Yeah.
I think it was a couple of months ago when Google presented their AI chatbot that can call restaurants and book an appointment, and it looks very, very realistic.
Sometimes I wish that it's already live. Sometimes I need that.
You don't like to have phone calls?
I like phone calls, but sometimes it costs time you don't have. So and especially in Germany, sometimes you have companies where you can't reach them through WhatsApp or email or things like that, and you have to phone them during special office hours. And for cases like that, I have a guess that it's very helpful.
I think the way even cold outreaches happen, I think on my LinkedIn feed, I already notice most of the text being semi-generated with AI. That this is almost the time where authenticity is even if you make typos, when you see a typo, you're like, thank God, that's a real person writing it. You know what I mean? So
I think in future it can be your USP if you are still available on the phone. So OTTO is always famous for being there. They have told us in the first week, I started my career at OTTO for 12 years ago, and I think we have 2 weeks of starter days program, and I think 1 week of that we were at our relations center and hearing phone calls of other, and then we were allowed to have our own phone calls and help the people there. And they have told us, we are there 365 days, 24 hours. If you have a problem with a Christmas gift, you can call us directly from the Christmas tree. And I think in future, it will be maybe a really USP if every company is only reachable with assistants or things like that. You have people there, and sometimes I'm one of that. You have topics where you want to speak to a person.
Yeah,
and I think we will. It will be very interesting in the next years.
I even saw someone talk about this on social media. He was arguing the films that you see on Netflix, for example. He says in a couple of years, most of the films will be AI generated that are cheap to watch, with these subscription models, and it's only because of production costs. It's only the elite that gets access to more expensive human-made movies, which kind of blew my mind because it's it could apply to any. If you're buying luxurious goods, then you can talk to a real person. He can take time because it's going to be much more expensive. And we're in this efficiency game where machines are taking care of most of the things that are maybe simple tasks, at least for now. I even read 75% of support inquiries could be tackled by AI. You know what I mean? So it's huge.
The crazy Netflix story I've heard is that you will have your own movies and series. So now you have a search bar and you can say what you want. In future, it's like a prompt. You are writing what you want, or you are watching. And watched and said, okay, I don't like the end, so generate me a different.
Yeah,
you will be able to be the movie chef. So.
You're like, I want Titanic, but with the end where Jack hops on this freaking piece of wood, like he could have saved his ass.
Yeah, but I think we will see that. And I don't know. Will I like it or not?
Yeah.
There are pros and cons.
My perspective is always, I try to keep a distance, not to express an opinion, because we don't know. maybe it's going to be like just
it's
like people.
untypical German.
Yeah.
So normally we have to focus now on the cons.
Yeah.
And talking about the nightmare.
Yeah. I got my German citizenship a couple of months ago, so I have to learn how to think negatively first.
You have to be negative.
It's part of my integration.
And data privacy. It's
that's also good.
Yeah, you always have to worry about that. That's
while we were preparing for this episode, of course we've been friends on LinkedIn for a while now, but I can't help but mention that you have this profile picture with an Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to say a few words about this.
Is that AI or is that real?
No, I think that's real.
Yeah, that's real.
Because I've seen you test it a while ago already.
Yeah.
I don't know if you own one these days.
Unfortunately, not.
Not yet.
But
you're not.
OTTO owns one.
Okay.
And sometimes I can try it. But at the moment, not.
You bring it home sometimes secretly?
Yeah. No, it was not secretly. I've always said you have to
eat your own dog.
That's now. I think if you want to do innovation really good, and it's always hard to do predictions, but especially in the innovation game, you have to try things for your own.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it suits to our topic before. You have that German press that always writes, it's a horror, it will fail, it's crazy. So on the other hand, you have that press releases of the companies. Everything is great, it works. So the truth normally is in the middle.
Yeah.
And you have to try things for your own. So, and you have to try it in the real world. So that was the reason I had the Apple Vision Pro for 1 or 2 weeks at home. Yeah, I like it. I see the big potential of that. Would I buy some? It depends on the content.
Yeah.
But with AI, I don't think that content in the future is a problem.
Yeah.
And you have to see it with your own eyes to know what is possible with that device and how it can change, especially the entertainment branch and especially sport entertainments.
Yeah.
You have see a demo, forget everything you know about 3D in a cinema. It's like you are in that fucking stadium and sitting directly on the playground. You are part of that game. And if that works, and if that works for the German Bundesliga, you will see that many crazy German football fans will buy that device only to watch sport games on that way.
I have to say, I've spent quite a lot of time in the last couple of weeks in German stadiums watching games. And if that experience could be, like when you compare to, like we were in Bayern München, the stadium, and we had a guided tour. So some of the seats for business people, they cost 12,000 euros per season. So if you would get an Apple Vision Pro, which kind of also changed my perspective because an Apple Vision Pro costs like 3,500, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then you could use it for 3 monitors. You know, you like buying 3. I have one really nice monitor at home, costs 1,500 euros. It's a hardware, so it could break anytime. It's annoying. But if you could have that thing in 3 times, it already compensated for the
but
money.
If you have the Apple Vision Pro, you don't think about screens anymore because there is no screen. You are inside that world. It's crazy.
Everything could be made into a screen.
And there were some press releases that Apple is dealing with the FIFA about a new football league. And at the moment, I have seen that trailer at Apple TV Plus on the Apple Vision Pro. I thought, okay, now everything makes sense that they have that Apple TV Plus content platform. Yeah. If they combine all that, it will be a next level of entertainment. And then the people have that devices, and then you can add an additional layer on e-commerce experience or giving advice, especially. So OTTO is so on the one hand, OTTO is very big in multimedia business, so we know very well how much people spending, especially in years of world championships or European championships for televisions.
Yeah.
People go crazy.
It's insane.
On the other hand, so we are very strong in selling furnitures, and sometimes it's not easy to imagine how it will look like in your in your flat or in your house. And there are already demo cases on that Apple Vision Pro, how you can have placements of furnitures inside the room, and it's mind blowing. You can't compare it with AR on your smartphone.
Yeah,
it's a totally
a different thing.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we are trying it out and looking from an innovation perspective how we can do better e-commerce in future with that new device.
In a way, the lowest hanging fruit is that having these live shopping feeds, for example, like where you could see the products on the one hand. I've even seen a demo like this where the live shopping person is talking.
Yeah.
She's on the right-hand side. In front of you, there are photos, like the graphics, videos, whatever. You can turn them around, and then you can have this immersive experience. You can like change the color, and it doesn't feel like I think one of the problems in e-commerce right now is that almost all the websites, they look similar.
Yeah.
It's kind of this like unique, it's no longer this unique experience. It's like the standard template. I think it will give us like this much needed new wind, new experience. But then I'm very curious I think many of the use case we don't even know today what the killer app will be. But one thing for sure, this immersive commerce is there to stay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so also.
And going beyond that, it's not only Apple with their products, but the Ray-Ban is switching their business model with their. It doesn't even look like this ugly big thing. It's like Snapchat. They have a very cool glass, and
they are very big in AR business also.
Yeah.
And content was always a problem building all the AR models. We have experience for years building that CGI models and things like that. But we won't have that problem anymore in future with AI because to produce that content, it will be very easy. And that's the reason why I say it will be a new world with that devices in future because of the content. And I think that is the reason why with a AVP, I call it short, there will be the difference because that is made by Apple. So it's always different if Apple built something.
Yeah.
And they were not the first with a smartphone. They had no first smartwatch, but they always be the one who made it to a success, that product category. And they will tackle that at the AVP with all the VR and AR headsets also. Why? Because of their ecosystem, of their platform, with all their apps, with the games, and especially in that area with Apple TV+.
Yeah.
So, and then you will see more and more other companies will join that game. So Meta is already in, and we will see less prices, or everybody's talking about an AVP. So SA or how you call the cheap versions of Apple products. So we will see
special edition. I don't know what. Special edition.
Special price.
iPhone has some.
And we will see that. And do we see a big increase of immersive e-commerce next year? Maybe not, but in 2 or 3 years, I think, and in 5, I think. I can imagine that if you are selling furnitures online, you have to be there.
Yeah.
So that will change.
I think many companies, especially bigger companies, are very excited about this because they're struggling with lots of returns, product returns, which could be immensely reduced through such immersive technologies. Because sooner or later, like you won't even want to do this yourself to go back to the post office and return the extra packages. Although you don't have to pay for it, it's just a hassle. You know? If you could just have the right fit, why wouldn't you, right? So I think that's going to disrupt e-commerce. But as you said, we don't know when exactly.
No.
Maybe I have the feeling that I could continue this conversation for 2.5 hours still, but just conscious of time, I would suggest we end up with some concluding thoughts from your end. We've talked a lot about these disruptive technologies, especially in social commerce, but maybe we, as I said before, we have even the smallest businesses watching this, right? So maybe we end up with giving them some tips in the changing landscape that we're seeing. 3 ideas to adopt going forward. You've mentioned, for example, authenticity, which is a big thing of today. The floor is yours.
I think you will see that all the technology we have talked about will be combined in the next year, and maybe we do another episode next year. Then maybe we can talk more about the immersive e-commerce and how it comes all together. I would.
I think you are a very good candidate for a Stammgast. You know.
Yeah, maybe. I know. I'm open for that. So, but I think it's very important to look at that new topics, to try for your own, test it for your business, and be untypical German, and think about what will be if it works, and if my competitor will use that technology.
Yeah.
That is sadly a different thinking model from most maybe companies in Germany.
Yeah.
Not for the innovating guy there, I know. I have a good network to them, but sometimes for the management or people like that. And I think you have to use AI in e-commerce in future. You have to use that immersive technology. Maybe immersive, it depends a little bit on the products, but I think only at what time you have to be inside. Yeah. But at a time in the future, you also have to be, that will be baseline. Also with social commerce. And if you start now, if you try now, you'll be one of the first ones. And normally it's cheaper to be one of the first and to have that experience and learn. Yeah. And maybe sometimes you are too early, but most times you are more too late. So, and especially in the social commerce game, I can suggest everybody searching for a good live shopping software, using your smartphone, using your ring light, searching for the right people in front of the camera. Try it on your own website, on your own app. Normally, it can be, it's untypical German, but it can be a one-day project. So using the software, one line of code integration, try it. Try it maybe on Facebook or Insta. Okay, there is no possibility to buy directly from that stream at the moment. But at that time where we will see TikTok Shop appears in Germany, you are prepared.
Yeah.
You know the right colleagues or external moderators.
You do the groundwork.
Yeah, you know good locations where you can produce. You know the setup. You can improve that with the time, but start now and try and get feedback from your customers, learn, and then you are prepared if the topic will escalate.
Jörg, fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for your inspirational thoughts. I feel like you're a couple of steps ahead of most of us here, but it's very in terms of really looking into the future because you're an innovation evangelist. And I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for being part of this special edition on tour in Hamburg around Reeperbahn. Yeah, so I hope to see you again in our show with a complete new set of innovative news. See you next time.
I'm open to that. Thanks for having me. And I like the Stammgast idea, but only if we can produce it in Hamburg.
All right, we will have to convince the guys from the team. Yeah?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the E-Commerce Germany News Podcast. If you did, make sure to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and follow us on our channels. Feel free to also recommend this podcast to your contacts and friends that may want to know more about e-commerce, digital marketing, and success stories. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and see you on the next episode.